Welcome back, everybody. If you don't know, my name is Matt. I am the voice of Antoine on this channel and the host of most of the stuff that goes on here. This is my vlog. This is the second one. And there was a lot of positivity for the first one, so I figured why not give this a shot again to see how things go. And I'm going to talk about something today that's I've been dealing with for the last couple days. And his name is in the title of the vlog, and his name's Fain. And I was a fan of Fain until we started interacting more on Twitter. And I realized that Fain has some kind of extreme ideas. Not so much that I hate the guy or anything like that. And Fain, if you watch this, I don't hate you. I'm not upset with you. We just don't agree politically whatsoever. And you tend to go a little hard when you really don't need to. And we had quite a bit of a disagreement to the point where I'm pretty sure you muted me. You didn't block me, which is fine, but I know for a fact that you muted me. And if you unmute me to respond to me or whatever, cool. I don't care. You can do whatever you want with your Twitter experience. I have something that I spoke about many times on the last vlogs, and I honestly believe it, and that is Twitter isn't real. It's the internet. If you can turn it off and walk away from it, it's not real. Nothing that it can't hurt you. I've had my own, I guess you could say, hit squad or whatever you want to call, whatever they want to call themselves, where they tried to take me down. Some of them believe that I shouldn't be allowed on because they listen to someone who's an idiot. That's neither here nor there. Fain and I have been getting into it the last couple days. And over the last bit, it's been over Jacob Blake, who, as you guys know, if you haven't heard already, he was shot 7 times by a cop in Wisconsin, and he is now paralyzed from the waist down, and apparently a millionaire already because of GoFundMe. So I guess crime does pay. There's a lot of things that have come out about Jacob Blake, and this isn't a normal video where I'm going to bring up citations and articles and things like that, but according to witness reports, Jacob Blake was the one that was being called the cops on. He was in a confrontation with a woman who had a restraining order against him, who he had beaten in the past and sexually assaulted and stole her keys. So what happens on Twitter a lot of the times, especially with people like Fain, is they get very reactionary. And unfortunately, they tend to not wait until things happen. They go with whatever is put out first. And unfortunately, this stuff goes with what the narrative is for Jacob Blake. Without waiting for all of the information, Fain was out there saying that cops are violent and cops are doing this on purpose and cops are out there that are just, they just want to kill black people. Of course, this is not true. This is something that is being pushed by places like CNN and MSNBC. The Democrats do stuff like that. And this is not going to be inherently a political thing. Okay? It's just me kind of talking about my experience with Fain and a couple of his followers. Fain, like I said, goes a little hard in the paint. And to be fair, Fain has his share of haters. I'm not one of them. I never have been. Come to understand that Twitter is not a place to meet people you want to continue to like. Twitter is a place to, I wouldn't even say get news. Twitter is just a place to be cathartic. There are people out there that are really nice. There are people out there who try and be as honest and everything as possible. But for the most part, Twitter is nothing more than a giant high school to see who can get the most popularity. I'm sorry, that's what it is. And the more you're popular, the more extreme you gotta be. You gotta keep putting out those hot takes. And unfortunately, Fain falls in that category. It's not necessarily something that is just restrained to someone who is a quote-unquote celebrity. Poisoning the Well is a pretty big channel. It's a team of people. So Fain and Fat Pat, they're both comedians. They're really funny, and I want to get a point to this. So they have their fame, I guess you could say. So Fain's got 7,000 something followers. He just has some really hot takes. And I'm seeing this is kind of a trend. I don't know if you guys know who Christopher Titus is. He's one of my favorite comedians. I followed him on Twitter. Talked to him a little bit on Twitter. I've met the man on multiple occasions. Personally, I've seen many of his shows. I've hung out with him after a show is over. Okay? This is not something that I'm just like, oh yeah, I know Christopher Titus. No, I've met him. I've hung out with him. I'm not saying we're friends or anything like that. I'm just saying I've got a pretty good handle on the man, or at least I thought I did until Twitter. And following him on Twitter, it was nothing but anti-Trump, anti-guns, anti-this. COVID is, people are idiots. COVID this, Trump, Orange Man bad. And it got to a point where I couldn't follow him anymore. I followed him to see if he was coming to my area or to get his humor on an off stage kind of thing. Hear from him. I follow Anne Rice. Anne Rice is a great author, and she has TDS something awful. I think I've described her in a video before as being like a prom date that got dumped by Donald Trump the night before going to prom, and she's never let him forget it. Everything about her is anti-Trump. Trump is horrible. Trump is destroying America. It's really weird. Same thing with Seth MacFarlane. I follow him. Mark Hamill as well. I mean, there's a bunch of celebrities that there's a saying, don't meet your heroes. With Twitter, it's kind of becoming true. It's kind of becoming something that's a place that you don't want to talk to people. So, do I think Fain is like this all the time? No. Do I think he and I, if we sat down and actually had a conversation, could actually talk to people? Or talk to each other? Yeah, and do I think it would be a decent conversation? Sure. Because on Twitter, you can't hear inflection. You can't hear sarcasm. If you don't know the person personally, you could say something that your followers or people who know you would find funny or sarcastic or snarky or whatever, but the person you're talking to would not get that. And I've said it before, Twitter is a horrible place to have a conversation. And I've tried getting people on the show to have a conversation on topics that we disagree on. And most of the time, these keyboard warriors, to use a vernacular, don't want to have their opinions challenged in a situation like that on a live stream, because it means they actually have to defend themselves. They can't just hide behind their keyboard. So I'm finding that more and more our conversations are happening in an area that just is not the greatest for having these particular conversations. And these are some pretty serious conversations. Stuff about police brutality, Black Lives Matter, politics, abortion, First Amendment, Second Amendment, things like that. Even marijuana laws. It's happening on a platform that limits your characters that you can use, for one. 2, is extremely biased in what they have. And 3, is more about getting people who follow you to interact with people that you retweet. It's not necessarily to have a conversation. It's, look at this person. I'm guilty of it too. You retweet someone, and there's always a shock of, oh my god, they responded. I learned a long time ago if they respond, they respond. You don't have to have the last word. And that's where a lot of people get a problem, is they always have to have the last word, or they always think that they're getting a one-up on you, or they always think that you're mad, or they always think that you're butthurt, or whatever it is. There are certain connotations and verbiage that people use that when you can tell they start getting a little heated under the collar. And one of Fain's followers, apparently I got under their skin pretty good, to the point where they were bringing me up in other tweets about people who follow me. And that's shocking. I mean, I didn't know I'd got under his skin that much. I don't know what I did to get under his skin. I just kind of... it was about Jacob Blake, and talking about it and going, this is what happened, and these are the reports that we have, and this is what the witness statements say, and look, there was a knife, and and it devolved, because every single time he had an excuse, or he forgive the term, shifted the goalposts of his points, I was there with another response. And I'm one of those people that will have a conversation with anybody. It takes a lot for me to not want to deal with you. And there are people that I just plain don't want to deal with, for a whole slew of reasons. So, for me to be able to keep coming back to this guy in responding to him, I could tell he was getting more and more uppity. He was starting to talk more highfalutin. He was trying to use verbiage he didn't understand. He kept talking about how he had a bigger IQ, and doing a lot of this stuff that doesn't really fly. And you get this sense of, well, people are liking my stuff, I must be right. Just because people like your stuff doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that you're right. Antoine did a video a long time ago called The Celebrity Fallacy. If I remember, I'll put it in the links down below. Talking about how people with these giant followings, it's a play on appeal to authority. One person who's in a position of authority says something, so you automatically believe that they're right, because a doctor tells you, it's not even a doctor, a person in a lab coat tells you something, and you automatically believe it because of the lab coat. It's something mental. You automatically believe what they have to say, and it's because they're an authority figure, and an authority figure wouldn't lead you wrong. Of course, we all know that this isn't true. Well, the celebrity fallacy is kind of an offshoot of that. And it's people with these giant followings, these e-celebrities, these real celebrities, authors, comedians, all these type of people with huge followings. They state their opinion. And because they have hundreds of people liking it, retweeting it, responding to them, they automatically believe that their opinion is right. So it's not necessarily an appeal to authority. And it's not even an appeal to the majority, because it's one person who is getting a backing of everybody. And they believe that whole backing is what makes them right. And not always true. All the stuff that Fain and I were talking about, or Fain and his follower and I were talking about, came out more about Jacob Blake today. We're learning more as it goes on, and what happened, and how things happened. And there's a lot of people out there who refuse to admit that they're wrong. They cannot be wrong. It is absolutely imperative to their personality, their persona that they put out there, that they can't be wrong. So they will never admit being wrong. Now, I've said it before, Antoine has said it before, never apologize. So there's a difference between apology and admitting when you're wrong, when you are presented evidence. When I say never apologize, I mean, look at the examples of things that have happened with cancel culture. When you apologize, they take that as a sign of weakness and they ask for more. They You give them an inch, they take a mile. That's why you don't apologize. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you're wrong about something. So, if you're presented evidence on something, take me for example. Gabegate, Antoine's Gabegate video. There was a person that was mentioned, Cringe Monster Productions. I still don't know who they are. Was telling Sarah that she's only Sarah that there is no drug that could help with what Gabe is talking about, so he's lying. Without knowing who Cringe Monster Production was, because I don't know them personally, I assumed that they didn't know what they were talking about. If they're a pharmacist, why the hell are they spending their time with a channel called Cringe Monster Productions? Cringe Monster Productions showed up in the comment section and said, I've gone to school for this. This is what I know. This is how long I've been doing. I am a pharmacist. So, and my response to them was, well, I know that now. Thank you very much. I'm not saying, well, no, you're lying. Okay, you showed me evidence. I was wrong. I admit that I was wrong. There are people out there that absolutely cannot admit that they're wrong. Ever. And unfortunately, people like Fain, people like Christopher Titus, people like Anne Rice, people like Seth MacFarlane, they can't admit when they're wrong, even when presented with evidence. Even when presented with even a modicum of pushback. And I don't know if it's Twitter that is causing that, or if it's just their personality coming out, and that's who they are. I don't know. The best I can figure is that they just don't want to be seen as wrong. They have to be right. They have to be right all the time. That's not a way to live your life. That's not a way to have an experience on Twitter. Or anywhere, on YouTube, Facebook, any social media site. It's bad. Now, on Twitter, I'm not going to lie, I've gone hard at people. I've gotten angry at people. I've gotten upset at people. I'm not going to say I've never gotten butthurt. I'm not going to say that I've never gotten offended. I'm not going to say that I've never overreacted. It's a learning experience. And when you do something like that and you learn from it, you can then use that to change your experience. And I've had a lot more fun with my Twitter when I'm just posting memes and shitposting and making jokes. If you know the person that you're talking to, and you have an ability to DM them or get them in a voice chat or call them on the phone, before you jump to conclusions about how they feel about something or what they're doing or how they're saying things, try and talk to them. I don't mean in tweets. I don't mean in a 240 character limit. I mean, talk to them. Hit them up. Be like, hey, you posted this. Is this what you meant? Or you don't even have to start the conversation that way. Just say, hey, you and I need to talk. Because the way things are going right now, this whole situation is just so divisive. And people are losing friends over it. People are losing respect for others. People are getting angry for no reason, or just, again, going back to Fain. Fain used to be a person that you could actually say, hey, this is the way that I see it. At least those were my interactions with him. This is how I see it. No hard feelings, man, or anything like that. Now, that's completely changed. he will label you as something. And unfortunately, once you label someone as something, the discussion is over. There's no need to talk to them anymore because they're just going to continue to label you that. There's no changing it. If they're going to hate you, they're going to hate you. If they're going to like you, they're going to like you. And if you do get someone who doesn't like you, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do, they're never going to like you. It's going to take something that happens to them to change that. Take that into consideration when you're dealing with people that don't like you. What's the term? Haters gonna hate? What that means is just they're not gonna like you. Doesn't matter what you do. They're gonna hate you just to hate you. I've learned over my time with YouTube, with Twitter, with Facebook, things like that. Do what makes you happy. I enjoy doing this stuff. Doing game footage, doing live streams, talking to you guys, and doing something new coming up. That if it goes well, may do more of. Who knows? This is already running a bit longer than I wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to stop here. And I have some things coming up in the works. I'm trying to get back onto the schedule that I was on before everything kind of went haywire. And get a video out, do game videos, streams, everything like that. Just seems to be life getting in the way. So, keep your eye out for a new video coming out from Antoine, talking about someone named War on Corruption. If you like what I do here, be it the edited videos, the streams, these vlogs, go ahead and hit subscribe. Hit the little notification bell so you know when I upload. And, well, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everyone.